Yo, it's Chris, and this is a review of the Fantech Helios 2 Pro S, which is the updated version of their Helios 2 Pro, and it retails for about $95, and unlike the vast majority of companies, Fantech actually includes the 4K Hz dongle in the box, which makes this a very good deal. My hands measure 18.5 by 10 centimeters, and this mouse fits me and my grip styles really well. I do have to mention that this mouse has been provided to me by Fantech themselves, and they also did send me two different ones for a giveaway, specifically these ones right here, which the giveaway will be happening in a few days over on my Twitter, so if you want a shot at winning, give me a follow so you don't miss it. Before getting into the review, I do want to mention that over 98% of you are not actually subscribed. So if you can, please hit that subscribe button and the bell right next to it. It really does help the channel a lot. So now, without further stalling, let's get back to the video. Let's start with the unboxing first, which is pretty standard if I'm being honest, but they do include a lot inside, which is really cool. They do give you spare full-size 100% PTFE skates, 8 dot skates, and some grips, which are not the best I've ever tried, but their inclusion is very welcome. Like I just mentioned, these skates are 100% PTFE, so there is not really any need to replace them with any aftermarket skates, and since there are technically 4 pairs of skates in total, these will last you for a long time. But moving on, the performance is great, they're not too fast or too balanced, they feel pretty smooth on both cloth and glass, and honestly, I have nothing to complain about. They're so good, I didn't even need to change them on my own personal copy. Right after I took this mouse out of the box, I was genuinely surprised by how good it was. But let's start at the coating because that's probably the first thing I felt when I took it out. It is very grippy, even with sweatier hands. Right now I actually have cream on my hands and this mouse is still very grippy. The coating itself is very smooth, soft to the touch, and it is seriously up there with some of the other great coatings. Moving on to the clicks, the Helios 2 Pro S is using the Huano Blue Shell ping dots, which are probably the most popular switches in the enthusiast sphere right now, and that is for a pretty good reason, honestly. Especially in this mouse, their implementation is just amazing. The main buttons have very little pre and post travel, and the whole click travel distance is also very minimal, which makes the clicks feel very nice, responsive, and their amazing tensioning makes them very easily spammable. They are definitely one of my favorite click implementations, and they also do sound pretty good. But instead of telling you how they sound, I will just show you. The side clicks are also amazing with a small amount of pre and post travel, and honestly, I would be lying if I'd said that I even noticed it in actual use. Their tensioning is very light, which makes them usable even with fingertip grip. I personally don't use the side buttons when fingertipping, but it's totally doable if that's something you want to do. The scroll wheel implementation is probably up there with my favorites. The rubberized ring is nice and grippy, and the notches are easily noticeable, but very light, so that makes the scroll super easy and satisfying since you feel all those little bumps. And the scroll click is also pretty easy to press, unlike something like the Sora V2, but more similar to something like the X2 V2, which I have both previously reviewed on this channel, so if you're curious, go check them out. The Helios 2 Pro S sports the Pulsar 3395 sensor, which I'm sure you're sick of hearing about at this point, but it does support up to 4K Hz polling rate wireless and 8K Hz polling wired, and the performance of both is pretty average, which is actually pretty good. Nothing to complain about at all, even the sensor placement is pretty good, and my grip places it slightly above the tip of my thumb. The size would fall into the small mice category, so if you prefer small mice or if you have small hands, you might like this mouse. The size specs are 120mm long, 38mm tall, and 64mm wide, and it is advertised as weighing 55 grams. Ideally, I would love if this mouse was somewhere between 45 to 50 grams, which would make it totally an endgame competitor. I find the shape to be actually pretty comfortable, even though it is not my favorite. I love that the sides are pretty flat, which is my personal preference, and the Helios has more of a central hump, which makes it pretty safe for the majority of grips, making this mouse a super versatile one. The back side of the mouse flares out nicely, which gives my ring and pinky fingers nice spots to grab onto and stay comfortable. On the topic of grip styles, this mouse is made with claw and palm grip in mind, which I would totally agree with. but it is also very comfortable with fingertip grip. My only issue with it would be the higher click height, but if that doesn't bother you, this mouse could be for you since it's such a great all-arounder. This mouse also works with Bluetooth, so if that is something that you find useful, you know, it has an option for that. Personally, I don't, but the inclusion is nice. The build quality is also very good. There is no flexing whatsoever, even if I try to squeeze as hard as I can, which I absolutely don't recommend you do. Their software is probably the worst part of this mouse, which is actually a good thing because the software is okay. Not much to say, it gets the job done. You can easily change your debounce time, your polling rate, and whatever other settings your heart desires. I seriously can't find any negatives with this mouse. The only one that I could maybe think of would be the fact that it is so criminally underrated. I'm serious that this mouse is not talked about enough. From the value you get to the actual performance, this mouse is honestly a fucking banger. I genuinely love it. So the main question is, should you get one? I mean, obviously yes. If you're looking for a small, ambidextrous, lightweight mouse, then seriously give this one a shot. I'm sure you will love it. Like I said before, I can't find a negative thing to say. If you have used the Helios 2 Pro S, do let me know how you liked it down in the comments, and also do let me know what other products you would like to see me cover in the future. As I mentioned before, I do have a Twitter and my ad is on the screen right now, so definitely give me a follow if you don't want to miss the giveaway or if you just want to see more of my content that is exclusive on there. That and all my other social media platforms are linked down below in the description. If you've liked this review, please let me know by liking this video and subscribing. Also, you can click the notification bell to not miss any of my future uploads. So, anyways, that's it. See ya. The scroll wheel impensates... Jesus Christ.